Say, well, we gather up. I'm going to do like the stars of the show today are Commissioner Mike Slavic and Commissioner Bill Drosty, who represent this area, as well as a whole bunch of other local elected folks. So I'm going to do sort of the Ed McMahon warm-up, but I just wanted to get a sense of who's joining us this afternoon. By the way, this goes back, the first time this was discussed was when Ronald Reagan was president. So, were you born yet?
I was born yet.
All right, Mike Slavic was in fact born when Ronald Reagan was president. He always tells us how young he is. But real quick, who's been, and I did the math, I added up the number of folks who've been engaged at this from different cities. If you are, so first off, are you a taxpayer or resident? Will you raise your hand? All right, let's hear it for you guys. Thank you very much. But we've had 10 mayors, over 70 council members, 11 members of Congress, both in the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, 24 county board members, and 16 legislators who have all been in office during the period of time. This started 35 years ago. And I just wanted to, in terms of who's here, who's been working on this in the 2020s? Just give a show of hands. Lots of folks. How about in the 2010s? In the 2000s? 1990s? There are still some hands going up. And is there anybody that went to I think the very first meeting was in April of 1989. It was in the community center in South St. Paul. Was anybody else there? There we go. We got one fella here. By the way, you are going to lead. Did you ride your bike down? All right, so if you all promise not to, I'll share this again at the end. This trail is not open. Where's Nikki, our parks director? It's not open, right, Nikki? It is absolutely not open. But just as a logistical matter, if anybody happens to have their bike, and after this concludes and wants to depart that way, you are welcome to do so. The construction crew, we don't like cyclists mixed with construction members and heavy equipment, but they're done for the day. So what they don't know ain't gonna hurt them. So we're good. Just don't do it tomorrow during the construction day. All right, with that brief little background and setting the table, my name is Joe Atkins. I have the good fortune of serving as the chair of the Dakota County Board this year, and I want to welcome you to the completion, finally, of the Mississippi River Greenway in Dakota County. It runs all the way now from South St. Paul to Hastings. And with that, I want to turn it over to my friend and one of our long-serving members of the Dakota County Board who's been working on this for a couple of years, Mike Slavic, who represents this area, as well as Bill Drosty. We're right on their boundary. Commissioner Slavic.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Atkins. I was thinking about this. It's been like only 30 years when they actually went and put the first part of asphalt into the ground on this, even though there's been so many people past and present who've been working on this for countless years. But, Commissioner Atkins and I have kind of been the thorn in the side since on the county board saying, when are we getting this done? We probably have more calls and complaints on this 2 miles than probably almost any other issue that I could say that we've had over the years. As Commissioner Atkins had said, my name is Mike Slavic. I am the District 1 County Commissioner representing Hastings, Farmington, the southern part of Dakota County here. And about 150 feet away from here is where District 1 begins, so within Integer Township of Spring Lake Park. We're here obviously to celebrate the Greenway, but additionally to that, we're also here to celebrate Spring Lake Park Reserve. This is the 50th anniversary of the founding and the addition of Spring Lake Park into the Dakota County Park System. So we're here to go. We all know the amazing bison and the number of people who are here every single day to experience that, but this is just such a gem to our park system, and we're very, very excited to celebrate this milestone as well. Before I go any further, I'd like to recognize a few people who are here today, and there's quite the list that we need to recognize. Starting, of course, with I have 2 other county commissioners in addition to Chair Atkins, Commissioner Bill Drosty, and then Commissioner Mary Heyman Rowland right behind there. We have a number of state representative and senator that I just want to acknowledge. Representative Hewitt, Representative Hansen, Senator Aaron May Quaid, and former Representative Tony Jurgens. We give them a round of applause. Then we have a number of city officials who are here. And we have the mayor of Hastings, Mary Fassbender, up front there. We have the city council member, Lisa Liefeld, with the city of Hastings. We'll applaud all of them. We have enough time. Then we will go to Rosemont. In Rosemont, we have the mayor of Rosemont, Jeff Weisenfeld. Then we have, if we're working down here, we have the mayor of Inver Grove Heights, Brenda Dietrich, right in the back. And I think have I missed any city officials that came in afterwards? If not, the last official that I'd like to acknowledge is our Congresswoman Angie Craig, who's here as well. So, as was said, we have a lot of people who made this a big deal, who were able to make this a success that we're able to celebrate today. But I think it's one of those things to say that there are still finishing touches that need to be done in here. But it was that last 2 miles of the loop, that final 2 miles from here west of Pine Bend Trail, that were truthfully the most difficult in the 30-mile plus from Hastings all the way to South St. Paul. It was 2 miles that were the most difficult for us to achieve, and we would not have been able to do that without some amazing partners, city, federal, state, that we'll hear more about with Commissioner Drosty. But we're very proud of this effort and finally being able to be able to celebrate here today. This will be a wonderful connection for walkers, for bikers, for park visitors, and our communities all along the Greenway. And with that, I will pass it back to you. So thank you again. It's a wonderful day for us to be here today, and there's more to come.
So one thing I know about Bill Drosty is I represented this area until a couple years ago. Couldn't get the trail done. As soon as Bill got elected, the trail got done. So Commissioner Bill Drosty.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you can see, I have a big task here. First of all, I got to correct these two gentlemen, my peers. Mike, it's at least 250 feet away, not the 100, whatever. But thank you all for being here. This is a wonderful day. I'm Bill Drosty, District 4. I represent the southern part of Eagan, the southern part of Inver Grove Heights, part of Lakeville, most of Rosemount, and the newest city, the city of Empire. So it's a great honor to be here. As most of you know, in my past role as mayor of Rosemount, I can't go back to 30-some years, but over a decade and a half, this was one of the items that was on the council agendas. And three things I'd like to say today. First of all, it was acknowledged already, but city staffs and county staffs, and when you think about all the people that go through those jobs, how it wasn't dropped. It was a tremendously complex project, and I think Logan Martin, who's a current administrator, could have been 3 administrators that worked on this, at least 3 engineers, and this 2 mile was very, very difficult. Second item, what I'd like to say is business partners. We're here today just through this industrial areas. I want to acknowledge 3 of them. Flint Hills Refinery, CF Industries, and Mosaic. And first one, Flint Hills Refinery. Last week, we cut the ribbon on 2 mile Veterans Memorial in Inver Grove Heights. And almost all of that 2 miles goes through Flint Hills Properties, and they donated the land to us. The same here, a large section of this goes through their property, and I can tell you, my 20 years as mayor, when I say a partner, Flint Hills is truly a partner. It's not an adversarial, hey, we need land to go through. They were at the table working with the county and the city to make this happen. On CF Industries and Mosaic, some of you may not be aware, actually a week ago, October 16th was World Food Day. And though both of those industries, as farmers are picking corn 200 bushels the acres, it's because of the anhydrous, the urea that comes out of this in feeding distributed the whole upper Midwest and the large corn crops that we have. But the third item I'll say is you see signs here, 6 communities, 28 miles. This is a connector that connects our communities. And you see here 3 commissioners, all 3 of us. It's through our districts out of 7, and we just had a meeting this morning talking about 2 other trails that will be moving forward shortly. So that connection and the safety improvements across railroads and roads, those alignments are important, but it's also important, again, to all of our community members. We just had a couple here. I spoke to the rode their bikes from Evergrove Heights down here. First day on the trail, even though it's open, they just thought this was the greatest thing in the world. Of course, they had e-bikes that made it even better. But with that, I want to say on behalf of the County Board, all 7 members, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the work for anyone that's been associated with this in the last 30 years. Commissioner.
And Bill alluded to it, but could we have our city partners, if Mayor Wiesenthal, the members of Rosemount City Council, could you please stand up for us? And we've got Logan Martin, City Administrator. We've got members of we've got folks from Rosemount City staff. This doesn't happen without our crucial city partners. By the way, could all the other city officials please give a hand, give a wave? Again, this whole thing doesn't happen if we don't have that level of partnership with our local city officials. Speaking of partnerships, by the way, and we have Representative Josh, if you could give a hand from Senator Klobuchar's office. We've obviously got Representative Craig. Senator Smith was supportive. Yeah, let's give them all a hand. But this, if you just look at this little piece that we've got over here, the federal funding that was secured for this was $6.7 million. We would not be standing here today if it hadn't been for Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith, and especially our friend Representative Craig. Well, our first call for help when it comes to local projects like this is to Representative Craig. She came through for us yet again. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking and welcoming Representative Angie Craig.
So we all know Joe. He didn't call me once. He called me about 40 times. Actually, that's not true. He didn't need to call me at all because as I was running for Congress, even that very first time, Joe and subsequently, of course, Bill and Mike and everyone here in the county made sure that their federal partners knew exactly where the priorities are in our community. It's such an honor to represent each of these cities as well. So I just want to personally say thank you to every single one of the mayors who are here today, the city councilors who have ensured that this project could get off the ground and made fruition. I can't even believe 30 years. I mean, think about where every single one of us were and what we were doing 30 years ago. I won't even tell you what I was doing at 22. I'm in the middle of something that might be used against me on. But we were all, I just told you how old I was too, so that's fine. But I am just so extraordinarily grateful to have been part of that federal partnership, working with the state to be able to bring these kinds of dollars back to our communities. You know, there's a lot of different communities involved in this project, and I am so grateful to represent every single one of them. I feel like every one of these communities are mine as well. So I just want to say thank you. This summer, we finally, my wife Cheryl and I, we finally invested in e-bikes. And I have to tell you, I'm a little embarrassed by it, but it has absolutely changed everything because I'm going a hell of a lot further than I've ever gone on these bike trails. Thanks, Joe.
Well, we got somebody
I know. On these bike trails all across our state, they are absolutely magnificent. So again, I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, and I'll just end with, we've got a few additional RAISE grants in right now. We're awaiting word on a number of them around the state. I understand that, and I can tell you that Secretary Buttigieg understands how important Dakota County and understands just how important the state of Minnesota is. So again, thank you for this extraordinary partnership. It's an honor to serve. Thank you.
So when it comes to partners, so we got some state funding for this as well in a bipartisan fashion. I'm going to call upon, I'm a former House member, so Senator McQuaid, sorry, but I'm calling on the House member first. Representative John Hewitt will be here to say a few words, but this legislative partnership didn't just start this year. It dates back 4 decades, all the way to the 1990s. And we've got legislators and former legislators who are here with us. And with that, thank you, John, and thank you to all the legislators that have supported this project over 4 decades. With that, Representative Hewitt.
Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you all the people that are here, including the lawmakers and city councils and Joe. Being a new freshman 6 years ago, I really got to know Joe. And it's like, if you remember the cereal commercial, "Let's give it to Mikey." That's what they did with their bills. Here, let's get Hewitt to take it. He'll take anything. And I did. This was one of the projects. This project was a heavy lift. We had Mary Murphy was our bonding chair at the time. And Mary Murphy was so funny. And I said, "Joe, how do I," because I didn't know Mary that well, how do I convince her? He said, "Make up the best ambulance story you can. She likes those stories." Yeah, it didn't go well. So basically we had to go back another year, but we finally got it. And that's really important, because what happens on these kind of projects, and I just happened to be with a group of business people today, and they were really adamant about what Minnesota's doing right. They had another list, but we'll talk about what we're doing right, okay? And what we're doing right is we want to attract more employees that want to live, bike, do things that Minnesota can offer. And this is one of the things, I talked to him about this, and that's exactly what we're doing right. In the partnership that went into this is what we need to see more of. It was great because it wasn't just Joe. It was the city of Rosemount that made this a priority. It was the feds. Angie and I actually had talks about this. So I really want to say that it takes all of us to get something like this done. We got to pass the finish line, and I got to give a lot of credit to Joe because he is consistent. Oh, and I'm sorry. One other person that I want to make sure, because this area has kind of always been represented by several other people in the House. Tony Jurgens and I worked on this together in a bipartisan way. We don't know if it's a 200 feet out there that he represented or here. Joe just calls me in because he knows I like to talk. And then another honorable person that's no longer with the House is also Pat Garofalo. He's sorry he couldn't be here today, so I'm going to go ahead and pitch for him. But anyway, so there was a number of people that worked on this project in the House. And again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that. And thank you, the citizens and the business community, for helping us out on this.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Representative Hewitt. Thank you, Tony. Tony, give a wave, will you? Tony Jurgens did such a phenomenal job of representing this area. This doesn't happen without Tony. We're also joined by Senator Jim Carlson. Thank you, Jim, for being here. And Senator Aaron McQuaid, thank you for your patience. No offense, but I always call it House members. Come on up and say a few words. This was bipartisan, bicameral. It doesn't happen if we don't have support from Democrats, Republicans, and members of both the House and the Senate. Senator, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you. Well, I was House trained, just to be really clear. I'm reminded of that often when I'm in the Senate. Well, I'm really happy to be here with all of you today. I'm Erin McQuaid. I was 8 years old when we started this project, and I have lived in Dakota County my whole life. So knowing the entire partnership that it took from state, from federal, from county, from city, and it's not just the electeds, right? It's everybody who works in our city administration, in our county administration, that's in the federal administration. That is how we get these things done. And so I want to extend my deepest gratitude for all of the work and for it to pass on and pass on and pass on, and with lots of phone calls and lots of tenacity. And I'm looking at my two mayors, former mayors who are now on the county commission, because that is often how things get done. We all know that mayors, wherever they are, they're always mayors, and they're always making sure things get done. No knock to legislators, we're pretty great too. But this is the testament to the kind of work that can live from an 8-year-old to a 38-year-old's life, where I get to stand here at this ribbon cutting because of the tenacity. And so I'm deeply grateful for all the work, and so glad to be here with you all today. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Senator McQuaid. And I just wanted, before we actually get to the part you all came here for, which is the ribbon cutting, to to the folks who worked on this project. You know, the elected officials, we come and go, we talk, we do all of that kind of stuff. We try to arrange for funding. But if you are somebody that's worked on this project, would you please raise your hand for me? We recognize that we're the ones who talk about it, advocate for it, but at the end of the day, when the rubber hits the road, it's the folks doing the work. And we genuinely appreciate everybody that's contributed to that. All right, Mary Beth, I've done this with no hands, with no notes. Have I forgotten anything important?
Well, not
How about
yet.
the ribbon cutting?
We're ready for that.
All right, let's do that
right.
part. By the way, if you've been to one of these where I'm in charge, I invite everybody to come up here. If you worked on this project, if you're a taxpayer, if you're a resident, if you're a commissioner, if you're a congressperson, if you're a mayor, a city elected official, I want you right here up front. But I literally want everybody. If you represent the business community, John, come on up here. We've got plenty of room. We want you all in the photo with us because everybody here today contributed to this effort. Don't all rush up at once.
Come on up. Let's
Come on
do
up.
it. Let's do it. Joe, would you like to explain what we're cutting?
I am. So, since we are opening, by the way, this isn't just a bike trail. This is about pedestrian safety. We had folks that got into crashes. We've had, and as a result of these efforts, we're keeping those folks safe. But instead of a ribbon, since it involves pedestrians and bicycles, we are cutting a bike chain, which if you're a bicyclist is not necessarily what you always want to do. But one thing that Mary Beth Schubert, by the way, would you give a hand to our communications team? They're the ones that actually do all the work to get us here. One thing that Mary Beth taught me that's really important, and that is before we actually cut something, we're all supposed to look out there and smile, and then we cut the ribbon. Is that right, Mary Beth?
That's correct.
Then we end up with a better photo besides. And we do 1, 2, 3.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and smile.
I'm in a great spot right back here.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right, should we try this thing for real now?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
I gotta have more hands on this.
We got-
Come on. All right, here we go.
All right, here's the countdown.
Here we go.
3. Opens the Mississippi River Greenway. Let's hear it for everybody that had a hand in it, who contributed to it. And thank you to our taxpayers, our residents, so much for being here. And with that, like I told you at the beginning, you literally can. If you rode your bike down, you can ride this trail. Just don't do it tomorrow in front of any construction people. Thanks again, everybody, for being here, and God bless you. Hey folks, if you are here, it means you're a supporter of this thing. I've got a section of the bike chain and a marker. Would you please, this is going to eventually go to the Dakota County Historical Society. Would you please autograph that for us? If you are an elected official, if you are somebody that worked on this, if you're somebody that here who rode their bike here today, I'd love to have your autograph on the bike chain. That's going to be sticking around for posterity. Thank you all.
Do you happen to have a business card?
I do not have one with me.
Thank you. Yes.
Tell me your name. Yeah, you look
Carlo James Lamont.
Yes.
Videos.
Yes.
Now, could you answer just 2 questions? How many acres?
is Spring Lake Park. It's about 1,200 acres.
1,200 acres, and you said how many bison are over there that I'm going to go? 11 bison. So we want to thank you for what you've done, and I'm going to send this to Dakota County.
Oh, great. Thank you
I
very
videoed
much.
the whole thing. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Another beautiful day in Minnesota. Thanks for watching. Moving on to my next video.